Hi, everyone. It's John Galante, president of AE Ventures, the folks that produce the Tech Home Builder Summit and also the Builder Innovator Content Portal for builders on all things innovation. I'm here with Jason Collman, who is the Senior Business Development Manager for Snap One, Clare Controls on the builder side of the business.
Yes, sir.
Jason, thanks for spending some time with us. Why don't we kick off with a little bit of a backgrounder on you and your work with builders. What does your day-to-day look like calling on builders? How long have you been at it? How many builders are you working with? That sort of stuff.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much for sitting down with me. I'm very excited to have this opportunity to chat with you for a bit and talk a little bit about our business and what we do and how we approach that. I'm Jason Collman. I work with Snap and Clare. I've been with the company for about 7.5, almost 8 years. I started with Clare Controls, and we actually started as a high-end automation company and evolved into the builder business the last 7 years. And, what we initially thought was going to be about, 5-10% of our business evolved into about 99.9% of our business.
Right.
So we're actually going to ship about 25,000 systems through new builder construction this year.
Nice.
Primarily in the high volume builder market, but we have builders ranging from custom builders that build one home a year to builders that build thousands of homes a year that use our product throughout their homes.
Very good. So you got a good sample of activity over the years and a good broad sample that you're working with now. What are you seeing in the market?
And I got to say, it's not just our market, it's just technology everywhere. It is advancing unbelievably quickly. And we're seeing all facets of marketplaces, seeing technology kind of penetrate into it.
Yep.
And I got to say, the housing market was probably one of the slower ones to adopt to the technology side.
Yep.
And we've seen in a lot of other areas where we're seeing it really explode now in the builder side as well. And it's across all categories, so it's not just security smart home, and it's not just audio video smart home, and it's not just surveillance. It's across all categories. We're seeing a massive level of growth.
Yep.
And we can see here on the slides from 2021 to 2027, we're seeing significant growth in all categories. But security and smart home is still two of those largest drivers.
Yeah. I like to call that category smart home security because it's got the security piece as a very strong element, and then it's got the basic home automation, which you might refer to as the smart home side of things.
Sure.
And that's kind of where your bread and butter is with Clare Controls, right?
Yeah. In my background, I've been in the industry in total for about 20 years. And, audio, video, and networking and security used to be separate. You'd have separate specialists and separate businesses, and they've really come together. And now you truly have to be an expert in all of those,
right?
Because they all play together nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's what I've really seen with the market as it's grown, is everything has just kind of started to come together and become one piece.
Yeah, you talk about 20 years ago, and there wasn't a lot of coordination between those different facets. I like to say you had the ponytail crowd and you had the crew cut crowd, right?
Yep,
They didn't really mix very well. I think they knew they needed to get their offers together and the story together, but it was hard because they were coming from different places, and I don't think we had the commonality in terms of the technological infrastructure across those categories like we do now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as the industry has grown, we've seen it grow on the retail side, of course. We've seen the amount of technology that's available to a consumer has exponentially just exploded.
Yeah.
And for them that are out there searching for someone that's looking at integrating technology into their home, into their daily lives, there are so many options. If you go into a Home Depot, there's an entire section devoted to just smart home technology. You go into a Lowe's, it's the same thing. You've got all the different brand names out there. You've got Ring and Nest, and you've got Amazon, and you've got these companies that have bought these companies and merged into this and created this new product.
Yep.
And so for a consumer, who has really lived with technology now, there's also a lot of it to really trying to decide and wade through and figure out what's the right fit for you.
Yep.
The other thing that we've seen is a lot of companies that are traditionally security companies. So as, example, alarm.com and Vivint and ADT, a lot of these companies have changed their name, to Vivint Smart Home, to ADT Smart Home. So it's not really just about security. It's not really about smart home. It's about integrating all those devices together.
Yeah. What else are you seeing out there in the market in terms of consumer demand and what buyers are asking for on the smart home?
So I don't know about you, but I just bought a car. This is the first car I bought in about 5 years. I got it about 6 months ago. And I was shocked in the amount of technology that was in that vehicle. And at first I think, I didn't really need this. And now that I've had it for a couple of months, I can tell you that it's very difficult to live without it. You get so used to it, and that buyer expectation truly is out there in the marketplace for it. We have started to think of it as features and add-ons, where now it's more requirements and necessities. And I can tell you, we're currently shopping for a car for my wife, and I am looking for those same exact features in her vehicle because it has made such a difference in my experience.
Right.
And we're seeing the same thing on the builder side, and we're seeing that greatly impact the builder or the buyer's purchasing decision when they're looking at a home. As an example here, 80% of home buyers believe a higher quality home will come with smart home technology.
Yeah.
I jokingly say my first car was a 1985 Dodge Daytona. I opened the door and the dome light turned on, but millions of Americans still come home to a dark home at night.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see really where technology is catching up with that now and making it truly a smart home.
Yeah.
The other side, 76% of people believe a brand new home should always have smart technology. And really right here, this is what I think is the biggest feature. 75% believe a brand new home with smart technology could be a tiebreaker. Why is this important? Because if a builder is going to put technology in their home, it's got to add value, not just cost.
Right.
I don't know a builder that's looking to just increase the cost of their house, but I know a lot of builders are looking to add value. And at the end of the day, when a customer has gone through and looked at multiple houses, have gone through multiple models, we want to make sure that technology is one of those things that stands out with them, that they say, I really like this house because of the features that it had with it. And that's a big part of what we really push for is building value in a home. Kind of along those lines, I just want to make a point. And, a lot of consumers also look at the resale value of, when I go to sell this, how important is that? And that's something that also ties into this too. This was a cool study, and this came out right before COVID. But Consumer Reports, they talked to about 1,000 home buyers. They talked to first-time home buyers. They talked to move-ups, 55 plus, people that were buying a second home, and are really trying to get a feel for, what impacted a home value to them. And one of the coolest things that stood out to me was that when an integrated home had a smart home system that was app controllable, and they can know what's going on with their house when they're away from it, they saw about a 5% perceived value increase on that property. And that was a really big thing. Again, at the end of the day, our builder partners, when they're using this technology, they're looking at how can I sell a home?
Yep.
How does this translate to my home buyer? And what does this mean to me as a builder?
Yep.
And I know this kind of sounds counterintuitive, John, but builders don't want to be the technology experts, but they want to make sure that their buyers have a great experience start to finish. And technology plays into that. Now, I don't know if you remember, there was this commercial from Amazon where this guy comes home and he's rushing around and he's picking stuff up and he says, Alexa, run date night. And the Roomba comes out and it's got flowers on it and it's whirling around. We have seen some crazy features come out with smart home.
Yeah.
You were at IBS this year, the International Builder Show. The technology pavilion was massive. I remember going to the show 8-9 years ago, and there's like 3 technology booths.
Yeah.
And there is everything under the sun labeled as smart now. But the funny thing, out of all those really cool flashbang features that have come out, the big things that still are really driving customers are convenience and family safety. Those are the 2 biggest impacts when someone's looking at technology as far as the features go. Is it easy to use? Is my family safe? And can I see what's going on with my house when I'm away from it?
Yeah.
And that's some of the things that we keep in mind when we look at how we present this to our builders.
Yeah. I think convenience is ease, but I think it's also time saving, right? That's such a precious commodity in today's world. And if a piece of technology can save a little time, it might just be little increments, but it adds up. over time to a substantial savings of time doing something that's a task, a grunt work level thing that isn't necessary, right? Isn't that part of the equation on the convenience?
Absolutely. And, you know, I'll tell you, I was flying home one time, and this was about 4 years ago, and I'm sitting on a plane, and the plane lands, and the guy that's seat in front of me, I see him open up his phone, and he's going into his app folder, and there's like 6 different apps for these, and he's turning his thermostat on, you know, he's doing all this stuff, going through and flipping through these apps.
Yeah.
And that always kind of sticks with me is, you know, how we use that technology, because in some ways it has made our life easier,
Yeah.
but how we actually interact with that has also gotten more complicated at the same time.
Yeah.
And, you know, watching him flip through and trying to find this app and then getting into it, and then you can't log into it and all those, you know, part of this is convenience, but like you said, is it actually a time saver and is it making things easier?
Yeah.
The next thing that we look at with this is video monitoring and smartphone control of security systems. Those expectations are number one with customers. You know, they want to have a smartphone, they want to have access to those, and video monitoring is one of the most requested features. Actual product-wise, video doorbells, connected cameras, and then lastly, you know, people want to be able to give access to dog walkers, maids, house cleaners, etc., so they can get into their home. So those are kind of some of the features that we're seeing requests from. And what I like about this slide is security, convenience, and family safety have been around for years. So even though this industry has gotten very big, we still see a lot of the same asks from the customers. All right, so let's talk about the builders, our bread and butter.
Yes.
And I'll say, and I'll ask your opinion on this. Regardless of the builder, do you see that they kind of have a lot of the same needs? You know, even if it's they build one house or they build hundreds of houses, do you find, kind of like I do, it seems like they have a lot of the same questions and concerns, regardless of the type of property that they build?
I think they have same questions and concerns, but they are also asking for very individualized programs and solutions.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, the challenge for a company like yours, which is, you know, how do you cope with that need for diversity of offers and such? And it comes down to how your product's engineered and how your programs are engineered, I assume.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what we see a lot of the times, you know, the first thing is, you know, I mentioned before, builders don't necessarily want to be the technology experts. So the questions come around is the system complex? Do the devices work well together? You know, I get these same questions, and I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of builders and been to all these different events.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of these same ones is, do the devices work well together? And this question typically comes from, followed up with the builder saying, well, we tried this and it did not work out, you know, or we tried this, or we had this and our customers had issues with it. The next question is, do I need multiple apps to utilize the system? Probably one of the biggest questions I also get is, are monthly fees. You know, am I putting something in? Am I handing a customer a monthly fee? Are there DIY options? And is the system scalable? You know, can the customer grow this system if they'd like within their house?
Yeah.
In line with that is, okay, great. I've picked a smart home system. Now, how the heck do I sell this thing? How do I actually get value out of it now that we've done it? How do I market smart homes? That's a big part of it. Again, you know, coming from the side of we are not the technology experts, from the builder side, is how do I market this and make sure that my homeowner really sees the value out of this? How do I support my homeowners? How do I train my staff? You know, what options should I offer? How do we roll this system out? Is it something that I'm putting into every home? Is it something that it's an option? And then finally, what does that core messaging look like? And does it align with my core messaging as a builder?
Yeah.
And so, you know, even though you're absolutely right, there are so many variables that come into tailoring a system to a builder, I see a lot of the same concerns across the board as, you know, how do I make this a successful program?
Right.
And how do I really get value out of it? And how does it help me sell a home?
Right.
This is my favorite slide. Okay. I could talk about this for hours, but this is some of the coolest things that really make us stand out as a smart home company. And, you know, when we started evolving into the builder market, we realized it's a very different space than what we were used to. And so we did a lot of market research. We talked to husbands, we talked to wives, we talked to families, we talked to singles, we talked to everybody under the sun about this, and really did focus groups around, you know, what's important, what stands out with you, and what's important when buying a house, and really wanted to tailor the system to make sure that it spoke to our customers. And I'll tell you, across the board, one of the biggest things is people did not want 5 or 6 different apps. And I talked back to that point years ago, someone flipping through their phone. I mentioned Home Depot earlier. They've got a lot of really cool smart devices, but when you start adding multiple of those into the house, is how do those devices work together? So, one of the biggest features with Clare is we are a broad device system. So we work with hundreds of smart home devices. Mm-hmm. So what this allows our builders to do is we don't come to them and necessarily say, you have to use product A, product B, you have to use our product here, our product here. We come and say, we will take these smart products, integrate them into our system, and give the customer one app control. So now we can take that Honeywell thermostat or the Ecobee thermostat or the Yale door lock or Schlage door lock or Lutron lights, and we can integrate those into our system and really give you an integrated smartphone or smart home. John, what else is very cool about it is we now make those devices smart with each other. What does that mean? We do if this and when stuff. You can say if it's after 7 o'clock and my front door is not locked, I want my front door to lock. I want a notification that this has occurred. And I want this to happen Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we really start to make it truly a smart, integrated home. And that's really one of the primary factors behind convenience is at a glance, I can open up my phone and I can see everything that's going on with my house when I'm away from it, the status of all those devices, if they're open, if they're closed, if they're locked, if they're on, if they're off, etc. This is the big one. This is we have about 100 plus builders that work with us, and I know for a fact if you asked every one of them, they'd tell you a lot of great features about Clare, but this is always the big one, is we are a no-fee smart home, which is very rare in this space. Mm-hmm. Everything has a fee. I talked about a new vehicle. We're all used to now, we're hearing stories about you got to pay for remote start on your vehicle. John, do you have any streaming services? Do you have Hulu? Do you have Netflix? Do you have,
Yeah.
I remember back the day when you could just sign up and it was $7 a month, and now it's getting to hundreds of dollars a month.
Sure.
We as consumers are definitely getting nickeled and dimed, and we're paying for everything. And there is a lot of pushback on that. And so we realized in the builder market, a builder didn't want to come to one of their customers and say, Mr. Customer, we just built you this beautiful $500,000 house. By the way, you got to spend $60 a month if you want to use everything.
Yeah.
So we took a very different approach with this. So Clare is a no-fee smart home system. What does that mean? So we work all the smart devices within the house. We give the customer remote access so they can see whatever is tied into the system, no matter where they are.
Yep.
They can access the system. They can make changes to those devices. They can lock their doors.
Yep.
We even took it one step further where we do self-monitoring for free. So now you actually get a level of security at no charge with our system.
Right.
So the homeowner, they've moved in, they're still unpacking everything, they're wrecked at the end of the night. They can go into their Clare app and they can arm their home at no monthly fee and get notifications if there's any intrusion or security events.
Gotcha.
Out of everything that the builder does when they build a house, technology is the last interaction that the customer has. Mm-hmm. So throughout the building process, everything that happens, technology is always that last handshake. And we want that experience to be just as good as the building experience was for that customer, and excited about it. So we work closely with our partners to make sure that we are the troubleshooting and we are the support side, not the builder. One of the biggest pieces of complaints that I've gotten from builders about previous systems that they've done is that when there's problems, the homeowner's reaching out to them. And again, they are not the technology experts with this. We want to be that. We want to handle that side of it. So we have a very robust back end. We have a very robust partner support program so that when a customer reaches out, if it comes to Clare, if it comes to Snap, if it comes to our partners, we're the ones that handle that. And we work with our dealer base to support that, to make sure that the customer has a great experience start to finish.
Very important.
Next up is DIY. I know it's a crazy thing, but we got a lot of feedback from customers that said, we had a system put in and we couldn't do anything with it without calling the place that put it in. So we wanted to put in a very robust DIY system into it. What does that mean? If a customer wants to have one of our Clare partners put the system in and add the devices, they can do that. If the customer wants to go and buy some devices and add it to their system, we gave them the capability to do that as well.
Yep.
So if they go on Amazon and order a smart light switch and they want to add it into the system, it can be done with a Clare Controls system. It does not have to be done through, one of our partner integrators in every step of the way. And that's something that a lot of builders said is, hey, if the customer wants to grow on their system, is that capable? And we absolutely do that. One of the big things, technology is constantly changing. The moment that you take something home, it's obsolete. The moment you get a new phone, it seems like they've got a new iPhone this, right? Coming out with all these new features. So we really built Clare to be an up-to-date technology where we can do ever-changing updates to it with new features and functionality, and we never charge for those updates. So as we add new device control, as we add cool new features, we update our hardware to be consistently in line with what customers are asking for. We actually do quarterly studies where we reach out to homeowners and say, what devices would you like to see integrate to your system? What features would you like to see? And then we actually implement those changes as those come in to make it more, consumer friendly, but also meet what our customers are asking for and what our builders are asking for. As we see solar and, green technology being evolved into homes every single day, we look at that and say, okay, how do we involve that into our system? How do we grow and, stay in line with those? And so that's something else that we have done since the start of the company is we are a cloud-based company that we can update all of our hardware.
Yeah. Tell me more about our R&D capabilities. I mean, how many folks do you have working on engineering and developing the new set of products, and what's your process look like?
So we have almost 50 people in the R&D side, on the engineering side.
Yeah.
That matches our sales team, in size.
Yeah.
And they are constantly not only, it's kind of a split. Half of them are doing troubleshooting and stability and strength testing and quality of life and how do we make this better and how do we make this faster and easier to use. And then the other half are working on what do we need to do, to be evolving, to be on the forefront of technology. What features do we need to do? What features do we need to support? We're looking at AI right now. How does AI integrate into a system? Where does this play into it? But one thing we never want to lose track of is, even though we're always talking about cool new stuff or, hey, we can do this or how about we do this, is we always take some time to stop and look back and say, how do we make the core system better? Yeah. How do we make the daily use of our system better? Yeah. And so that's where a lot, actually the largest part of our budget goes to is R&D and continuing to evolve and make the system grow.
Well, I think you guys have very much counted on your integrator partners on the product development side of things, really taken their practical advice as the solution provider in the field on what's really going to add value and what's really going to work. That's, I think, one of Snap's signatures, and it's in place for the Clare Controls piece now, I'm sure, as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a really good point. We have about 20,000 integrators in the field. And so a lot of that feedback comes back in on the daily use of it and how we make the system.
Yeah, they're part of your R&D team.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they don't like something, trust me, they will let us know.
Yeah. It's their vocal crowd. So tell us more about, let's dig in a little bit more specifically on the Clare platform. What are the pieces and parts and such?
So, let's kind of talk about, what we integrate and how we work. The heart of the system is really the ClareOne panel. That is our smart home and security panel. It looks like a really nice 7-inch tablet. It's a high-resolution screen, gets mounted typically near an entrance or a central location within a house. The homeowner has the capability to control their entire system from their touch panel. They also have the capability to control their entire system from the app. Okay. And keep in mind, these features I'm talking about here are no fee. So these are no fee features. The customer, we integrate to, we have a video doorbell, plus we work with third-party video doorbells. Yeah. So when you have a Clare panel in the house, let's say someone rings the doorbell, it of course rings to your phone, but also rings to your panel. So you can actually do intercom, no monthly fee. So we've now added a free intercom feature within our system. We tie in CO2 detectors, smoke detectors, sirens, door window sensors. One of my favorites, water sensors. I had one of those about 6 months ago trigger and saved me a significant amount of water damage because one of my sensors went off. And so, the goal of the system is not just, I talk about those fun smart home features, but really at a glance, know what's going on with your home. I live in Houston, Texas. I'm here in Nashville. I know that my system is armed. I can see my cameras. I can see the status of my sensors. I can see the status of my smokes, my CO2s. I know what's going on at the house for no monthly fee.
Uh-huh.
But then going back, we tie in the smart thermostats, we tie in the locks, we tie in the garage door openers, but we also take it one step further. We do audio with some of our industry partners like Sonos and Hios Audio. So now we start to wrap entertainment into it. We can do gates, we can do pools, we can do fireplaces. We do shades. One of our partners here at the show right now, Hunter Douglas, we work closely with them. We have great shade control options. So we're really giving you total control over your entire house within the Clare Controls.
And talk to me about the user interface, the control functionality that integrates with these ecosystem partners. I mean, is that, are you getting almost the full native control of those devices through the ClareOne interface in most cases?
Yep. Yeah. We usually typically do about 90% of what that specific device does. We want to make sure that, we can replace that app as much as possible.
Yeah.
That is really the goal. But we also really wanted to keep it very simple.
Yeah.
Some devices like door locks is as simple as lock and unlock,
Yeah.
but I can also go in there and I can change user codes and I can change door lock codes.
Yeah.
But at a glance, I can push it and hit lock or unlock. So we wanted to simplify the control.
Yeah.
But it is very powerful. That is a very good question because, when we are taking over all those devices, we have to give you the capability to say, I don't really need this app anymore.
Yeah. So your R&D team is digging in to understand what the core essential functionality is. And then I'm assuming they're also spending a good amount of time trying to understand how to render that on your UI so it's intuitive and easy to use as well.
Yes, and we actually have two sides to our beta team. So you mentioned our dealers, integration partners. They're a large part of our beta team, but we also have a large consumer beta team, including a number of our builder partners. Recently when we launched our brand new doorbell, I had a number of our builders that got some of the first generations of those and gave us feedback because we want, engineers do a great job, but sometimes they're engineers.
They like a lot of buttons on stuff sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so having that consumer feedback definitely helps us really evolve the system so that it works for everybody.
Yeah.
I really like this slide, and there's a lot of stuff here, but the reason I like this is it really speaks to what we control. And if you remember, right when I started talking about the system, I mentioned we started as a high-end automation company. What's unique about that is there is a lot of great security and smart home providers in the market today. They started as smart home or security companies that started to evolve into smart home. We started as a smart home automation company that evolved into security. So we have one of the most robust platforms for third-party device control. And one of the most intuitive. So we do smart lighting control, we do home security, we do security cameras, we do smart thermostats, we do voice control, we do garage door openers, we do shade control, wireless audio, like I mentioned, gates, pools, fireplaces.
Yeah.
The one area that we don't dabble in anymore that we did pull out of our system was entertainment, as long as like TVs, home theaters, video distribution, universal remotes. But luckily, we're under the umbrella with Snap and Control4. We're a Control4 partner. So we integrate very nicely into Control4 for high-end automation and control. John, one of my builders actually uses Clare and Control4. They use us in their entry to mid-level, and then for the real high-end stuff, they use Control4. Yeah. What's nice is once that, we kind of meet, that synergy meets, you don't have to take out Clare. We actually integrate right into the Control4 system.
Right.
So now within the Control4 automation app, the customer can control their security and Clare system and their Control4 system all under one app.
And you personally mediate that range of solutions for the builder as the builder business development guy. Correct?
Yep.
So you're able to consult with them across multiple lines.
Yep. Yeah, if they're looking for an entry-level system all the way up to a high-end system, we're able to speak to that. We're always looking to add more stuff. We're always looking to update this with new device and new device control. And again, we take a lot of that feedback from our dealers and from our consumers.
Yep.
Through the Clare system, we have the ClareOne app, which controls your smart home. We're a free smart home control system. I do want to add a caveat to that is, Clare does do security, and that is the only pay that comes in with Clare. is if you want a monitored security system. So if you want, you want police or fire to respond to an incident, then that's where the fee comes in with Clare. And I will say one nice thing about that is since we don't charge for all the other features that most of our competitors do, the monitoring rate for Clare tends to be quite a bit lower than what we see for the average.
Right.
But outside of security, self-monitoring is free, device control, your cameras, even down to something as simple as a video doorbell, which everybody loves, there's no charge for our video doorbell. We really understood the pushback that came from builders on the fee side. And we kind of dabbled in, okay, what if we did a free period? What if we did this? And at the end of the day, one of my builders jokingly said, he's like, I don't put pay toilets in my house. He's like, I don't want to put anything in here that my customer
He's
has to pay
behind the
for.
trends.
And that's really been the sticking point for our builders has been, I want a system that works the technology we're putting in, but I'm not handing my customer a fee.
Gotcha.
And we also have a very robust line of surveillance and cameras. We can do standalone surveillance. You can put it in with a security system. And again, something else that's almost unheard of in our industry is there's no monthly fees for any of our cameras, down to our doorbell. And we wanted this to be a real simple user interface. The customer can simply open up their app and they can see what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have been kind of out on the forefront on the residential video surveillance piece for a while, right? You acquired the Visual Int line, which I think was integrated in with the controls here, or that was one of the claims to fame of the Visual Int side of things. So your differentiators here are quality of pictures, lack of latency, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. We wanted to bring the consumer level experience. So, Ring and Nest, they got some great interfaces, when you're using those products.
Yeah.
But, on some sides, the product side and, the actual picture quality and things, we're not to the level that you'd see on the integration side. And we really wanted to bring those two together and bring a easy to use interface with a high quality product that still doesn't, saddle the customer with a monthly.
Yeah, and we're really hearing that this surveillance piece is extremely in demand, right? That like people's hunger for the surveillance, not just the video doorbell, but multiple nodes. I want a camera on my roof so that I can keep the raccoons from ripping the tiles off and trying to have a nest in my attic, but I haven't got that yet.
It's one of those things, once you have it, it's very, very hard to live without it. So, kind of recapping with this is we're a scalable system. Whether you're just looking for a simple security system, you want to control a couple of smart devices, or you're controlling hundreds of smart devices throughout a house, they want to make sure it's integrating with the stuff that our customers are using from day to day. If it's as simple as Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant voice control, to some of the newest cutting edge technology that's out there, we're always pushing to stay in front of that and making sure we're giving the solutions that our customers are asking for. And lastly is we want people to use it. It's got to be a user-friendly system that people day to day are comfortable with using and really does give their access to their home. So much so, I talked about a while ago as resale. We find a lot of customers want to take their system with them, to their new house when they're upgrading their homes. And so, that really speaks to how much it's no longer a feature, but really a necessity that they're looking for with it.
So differentiators.
And again, I spoke this a little bit ago, but when it comes back to the builder is, we're a soup to nuts system. So it's not just, okay, I've picked a smart home system, now what? It's also helping our builders launch those programs, doing sales training with them. We don't want to make the builder the expert, but we want to give enough information that they can speak to it. We do kickoff sales training with their sales teams so that when customers ask about smart home, they can say, this is why we chose this. It's a no-fee smart home. It does this, this, and this.
I have to understand the basics, be able to convey the basic benefits, and enthusiasm for the product line, I think, are the keys.
Yep.
So whatever you need to do to get their sales team there for a good handoff to the integrator typically is, definitely part of the success equation, I would say.
It's 100%. And, one universal truth with salespeople: if they're not comfortable with something, they will not talk about it. And so we put a lot of time and energy into making sure that they are comfortable with the systems and that they do know how to use them and they can speak to it. And that's where that training piece comes in. You know, I'll tell you, a lot of times when we sit down with a builder for the first time, you know, we come in with the marketing material pre-done. We show them what it looks like. You know, welcome to your smart home. This is what's included. Here are the options. And that always really, you know, stands out with them, because that's the other part of it is, you know, if I get a home buyer all the way to closing that has no idea that I'm getting a smart home system, you know, why are we doing this?
Right.
And so I think that's where the marketing piece comes in, is working with them to make sure that the messaging makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's also their messaging. You know, we're not pushing a Clare smart home. We are pushing our builder's home. You know, we're not there to sell Clare to the customer. You know, we're really there to build that value in that system.
Right.
Yeah, ultimately you want to create lift for them on the sales of their homes by having the technology piece appropriately embedded in the overall messaging.
Exactly. You know, something else that I have builders ask is, can we just buy the system and can we have the homeowners put it in? We do not do that. That is one thing with our system, is we do need an authorized dealer to install the system. Now, once it is installed, the customer has a lot of control over it. We feel that this is very important. We've had builders that have done DIY programs in the past. And again, you've got the customer coming back to the builder. How do I do this? How do I activate these? These devices aren't working together. And the builder's sending them off to the deal or the manufacturer. The manufacturer is sending them right back to the build. We don't want to be in that loop.
Sure.
And that's where it comes in with our authorized dealer channel. We really want that white glove service.
Yep.
Customers got a lot on their plate when they're moving in. We want their system up and running and go, Mr. Customer, here you go.
Yep.
Here's how everything works. I've got everything set up for you. Let's go through and make sure you're comfortable with it. And that really makes the overall experience better. So just kind of recapping, we're a no-fee smart home. I cannot say that enough. That is one of the coolest things about us. You know, we do smart home, we do security. There's a lot of great systems out there that have various little features here and there that are unique. We kind of bring all that in together. We truly meld those
And at a
two
high
industries.
level too,
Yep.
on that security and that surveillance piece in particular.
Absolutely. One app control for the entire house, full device support, you know, for brands that people recognize, you know, and fully scalable from, you know, luxury to high volume houses. List of a number, like I said, we work with about 100 different builders, a number of builders that we currently work with that are using our product. Kind of, you know, a little bit about Clare in the industry, some recent builders that we've launched with, you know, previous builders that are currently using us, just kind of speaks to, you know, you see us out there in the field. And the thing I like about both these articles that came out, this one's from Fisher Homes, another one from MI, is it really spoke to why they chose Clare, and that no fee was one of the biggest ones, you know, multiple times. And again, in this industry with a lot of great technology, most of it is fee-based. And builders and customers have really came out and said, hey, you know, we don't want to be strapped to a fee.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Snap. And, you know, as our builder partners have grown with us, Snap acquired Clare about 2 years ago. So we're under the Snap umbrella, which has been fantastic. There's increased, you talked about R&D, engineering, sales. It has just increased everything with it.
Yep.
Snap is our parent company. They're a broadline distributor and a prime manufacturer. We have about 20,000 dealers across the U.S. And, you know, what a lot of our builders don't even realize, and I always like to jokingly say Snap's like the biggest company you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Chances are pretty much every builder at the show this week, their integrators are most likely Snap customers to some degree.
Absolutely.
So, you know, from a wall plate to a Cat5 cable to an outdoor TV to a whole house network or audio system, Snap is a distributor, supplier, and manufacturer of those devices. And so it really gives us the scalability to support any size builder, and then also have the product backing to support them as well.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, in terms of the products you make yourselves, they've been highly regarded by your integrator channel partners for their quality, their practical application, And I think also the service component that you deliver to your integrator partners is really important, right? With your portal for ordering product, for tracking its progress, and those efficiencies that you give to your channel partners, your integrators, those get passed along to a builder when that integrator partners with the builder, right?
Absolutely. You know, a lot of the infrastructure that we've put in has been around, you know, how do we make it a better experience for our integrators? How do we make it a better experience for our customers? You know, there's programs we have like Oversee that allows our dealers to make real-time changes remotely from a customer's home.
Yep.
So when there's a device not working, they can remotely restart a router or power cycle something. It's really about, you know, getting the customer up and running as quick as possible, and really allowing them to, again, make technology convenient and time-saving, not necessarily a burden. Under our umbrella, I mean, there's a ton to talk about, but Control4 is obviously a in-house part of Snap. Oversee is our remote management service. It's just award-winning after award-winning after award-winning. Again, it really gives our dealers the capability to remotely manage and take care of customers, you know, without having to roll a truck out there.
Understand the health of the devices and remotely manage them with these web services applications all throughout your product line, right?
Yep. You know, it's funny because everything is network-based now. You know, with programs like this, a dealer can actually fix something without the customer knowing there's even a problem.
Yeah.
You know, they get a notification that they've had, you know, 5 houses go down with a network, and they can, you know, restart a network for them.
Yep.
And then, you know, Clare is probably the most recent one, about a 2-year ago acquisition. We're Clare Infusion Pro, which is our back-end software for, you know, managing our systems. And, you know, we have property management systems. We have model management systems, you know, based around the builder industry that really gives our builders and our dealers a lot of flexibility on managing their product. And, you know, I said we're a broadline distributor, we're really a manufacturer. We make so many different products. We have audio devices, video entertainment, networking, infrastructure, structured wire, security and surveillance, lighting, media distribution, just a ton of those categories. Like I said, you know, even if a builder is not currently using Clare or, you know, perhaps Snap individually, I guarantee it, you know, they're dealers that are touching their homes. Some of that product going in comes out of the Snap side of the business. And I got pages of this stuff we integrate to. But it really gives you an idea of the size and support that comes with this.
Some of these acquired, some of them homegrown, all kind of have that the core value of quality, of practicality. I mean, you've got some higher end brands in there on the AV side of things too, but it's quite an impressive line of products manufactured.
And really this comes back to, you know, builders that use us as a partner is how do we support them? You know, how do we make sure that we have the products that they need, that their customers are asking for? And, you know, there's no delay in their build, right? You know, we have this in stock, it's ready to deliver, and we can make sure that, you know, start to finish, their customers get a great experience.
And distributed brands, we've seen some of these names before. What's your superpower as somebody who works with builders and business development? And obviously, not only do you make the sale, but you seem to work on the sell-through and the customer care piece. What is your superpower, Jason?
Man, you know, my superpower, honestly, is that I love this process from start to finish, and I know it from start to finish. You know, to be successful in this industry and with builders it's understanding that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so being able to stay with it, you know, from the first conversation we have until the homeowners start moving into their house, which can be a long process.
Yeah.
You know, in seeing that result really is where my strength comes from, is that, you know, I know that we're offering a great solution. And so being able to come and say, hey, from the first day until when your homeowners are really using it and experiencing it or happy with it, we're going to be right there with you.
That's really important. And I know some of the biggest builders out there, they care a lot about product, they care a lot about programs and process supports, but they also care about the people having a genuine interest in service and transparency and honesty. And it sounds like those are values you bring to the equation as well.
Absolutely.
So how do people work with you?
So they can reach out to me. I've got my email right there, jason.coleman@snapone.com. Also have my direct number. They can reach out to me. I love taking calls and emails. Reach out anytime. I'm happy to help.
Thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. John, thank you very much.